Our body is an incredibly complex and efficient machine. Like any machine, it requires fuel to function properly. This fuel comes from the food we eat. Food provides us with the essential energy needed for every single process, from the beating of our heart and the expansion of our lungs to the simple act of thinking or moving a finger. The calories we consume are not just numbers on a package, they are the fundamental units of energy that power our existence. Without this constant supply, our internal systems would eventually grind to a halt. This is a basic biological fact that we must always remember. The energy from food is primarily derived from three macronutrients: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Carbohydrates are the body's preferred and most immediate source of fuel. They are quickly broken down into glucose, or blood sugar, which is then transported to our cells to be used for energy. Think of carbohydrates as the high-octane gasoline that gets the engine running quickly. Fats, on the other hand, are a more concentrated and long-term energy source, like a reserve fuel tank. Proteins are primarily used for building and repairing tissues, but they can also be converted into energy if other sources are unavailable. Beyond just energy, food provides the essential building blocks for our body's structure and function. Vitamins and minerals, often called micronutrients, are crucial for a vast array of biochemical reactions. They help regulate our metabolism, support our immune system, maintain bone density, and ensure our nerves communicate effectively. For instance, calcium is vital for strong bones, while iron is necessary for transporting oxygen in our blood. A lack of these critical components, which can happen during prolonged periods without food, can lead to serious health complications and systemic failures. Therefore, a balanced diet is not a lifestyle choice, but a biological necessity. It ensures that our body receives not only the raw energy it needs to operate day to day, but also the specific materials required for growth, repair, and protection against disease. When we deprive our body of food, we are essentially forcing it to run on its emergency systems. While it has remarkable mechanisms to survive for a time, this state is not sustainable and puts significant strain on every organ and system. Understanding this fundamental need for nourishment is the first step in appreciating what happens when we stop eating. When you stop eating, your body doesn't immediately panic. It has a well-rehearsed plan for short-term energy management. During the first 6 to 24 hours, the primary source of energy is the glucose circulating in your bloodstream, which came from your last meal. Your brain, in particular, is a heavy consumer of glucose and relies on this steady supply to function optimally. As this readily available glucose is used up, your body turns to its first line of reserves, glycogen. This is a form of glucose that is stored in your liver and muscles, acting as a short-term energy buffer. The process is quite straightforward. When your blood sugar levels begin to drop, your pancreas releases a hormone called glucagon. This hormone signals the liver to start breaking down its stored glycogen and release it back into the bloodstream as glucose. This process, known as glycogenolysis, is crucial for maintaining stable blood sugar levels and ensuring that your brain and other vital organs continue to receive the fuel they need. The liver can store approximately 100 to 120 grams of glycogen, which is enough to power the body for about half a day, depending on your activity level. Your muscles also store glycogen, but there's a key difference. Muscle glycogen is primarily reserved for the muscle's own use. It cannot be released back into the bloodstream to supply other organs like the brain. So, while your muscles have their own private fuel tank for physical activity, the rest of your body relies on the liver's generosity. Once the liver's glycogen stores are significantly depleted, which typically happens within the first 24 hours, the body must transition to a new energy strategy to survive. This marks the end of the first phase of fasting. During this initial period, you might start to feel the first pangs of hunger as your stomach empties and hormone levels shift. You may notice a slight decrease in energy or feel a bit irritable as your body adjusts to the absence of incoming fuel. However, for most healthy individuals, this first day is relatively manageable. The body is simply running through its most accessible reserves, a process it is well equipped to handle. The real metabolic shifts and more noticeable changes begin to occur as the fast extends beyond this initial 24-hour window. As you enter the second day without food, your liver's glycogen stores are nearly or completely exhausted. Your body now faces a critical challenge: how to continue supplying energy, especially to the brain, which still demands a significant amount of glucose. To solve this problem, the body initiates a process called gluconeogenesis. This is a complex-sounding term for a simple concept: creating new glucose. The liver becomes a manufacturing plant, creating glucose from non-carbohydrate sources to keep your systems running. This is a remarkable feat of biological adaptation. The primary raw materials for this new glucose production are amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. Your body begins to break down protein from sources like muscle tissue to harvest these amino acids. They are then transported to the liver, which chemically converts them into the glucose your brain needs. This is why prolonged fasting can lead to a loss of muscle mass. Your body is literally sacrificing muscle to feed the brain. A smaller portion of this new glucose is also made from glycerol, a component of fat molecules, or triglycerides, stored in your adipose tissue. This metabolic shift has significant consequences for the body. The breakdown of protein for fuel is not an ideal long-term solution. It's an emergency measure that puts a strain on your kidneys, which have to work harder to filter out the waste products from protein metabolism, such as urea. You might experience a gradual decrease in physical strength as muscle tissue is catabolized. This is the body making a difficult but necessary trade-off, preserving the function of the central nervous system at the expense of peripheral tissues like muscle. By the end of the second day, you will likely feel more pronounced effects of fasting. Weakness and fatigue may become more noticeable as your body is not running on its preferred fuel source. You might experience headaches or difficulty concentrating as your brain adapts to the changing energy supply. The initial feelings of hunger may start to subside, replaced by a sense of lethargy. Your body is working hard behind the scenes, reallocating resources and initiating profound metabolic changes to cope with the lack of external energy. This sets the stage for the next, even more dramatic, phase of fasting. By the third day of fasting, the body makes another major metabolic pivot. Relying on protein breakdown for fuel is unsustainable and damaging in the long run. To preserve precious muscle tissue and provide a more efficient alternative fuel for the brain, the body ramps up the production of ketone bodies. This process, known as ketogenesis, primarily occurs in the liver. The body begins to break down large amounts of fat from its adipose stores into fatty acids. These fatty acids are then converted into ketones, which can be used as a powerful energy source by many tissues, including the heart and, crucially, the brain. This metabolic state is called ketosis. It is a survival mechanism that allows humans to endure periods of famine. Instead of running on glucose, a significant portion of the body begins to run on ketones. This is a much more efficient and sustainable strategy for a prolonged fast. Fat stores are typically the largest energy reserve in the body, and tapping into them provides a plentiful source of fuel. The shift to ketosis dramatically reduces the body's need for glucose, thereby slowing down the rate of muscle breakdown. It's the body's way of protecting its functional tissues. The transition into deep ketosis is a gradual process. On day 3, your body is likely in the early stages. The concentration of ketones in your blood rises significantly. One of the side effects of this is a distinct, sometimes fruity or metallic smell on the breath, often referred to as keto breath. This is caused by the release of acetone, a type of ketone, through the lungs. While it might be socially awkward, it's a clear physiological sign that your body has successfully shifted its primary fuel source from carbohydrates to fat. This shift has a profound impact on how you feel. Many people report that the intense hunger and fatigue experienced on day 2 begin to wane as ketosis sets in. Some even describe a feeling of mental clarity or mild euphoria. This is partly because ketones are an excellent fuel for the brain. However, the body is still under considerable stress. Weakness and lightheadedness can persist, and it is crucial to stay hydrated by drinking plenty of water. Day 3 represents a critical turning point where the body fully embraces its fat-burning survival mode. Ну что ж, человеческий мозг – это крайне энергоемкий орган. Несмотря на то, что он составляет всего около 2% от массы нашего тела, он потребляет примерно 20% всей нашей суточной глюкозы, когда мы сыты. Вот почему поддержание постоянного притока топлива к мозгу становится главной задачей организма во время голодания. В течение первого дня или около того мозг полностью зависит от глюкозы, которую мы получили с последним приемом пищи, а затем из запасов гликогена в печени. Когда эти запасы иссякают, мозг все равно продолжает требовать глюкозу, и именно поэтому организм запускает не самый эффективный процесс – глюконеогенез, то есть расщепляет мышечный белок. Тем не менее, у мозга есть удивительная способность к адаптации. По мере того, как голодание продолжается, на второй и третий день уровень кетонов в крови начинает расти, и мозг начинает менять собственные механизмы обмена веществ. Он начинает использовать кетоны как основной источник топлива. Это действительно важная адаптация. К третьему дню голодания кетоны могут обеспечивать до 30% потребностей мозга в энергии. Если бы голодание продолжалось несколько недель, эта цифра могла бы вырасти аж до 70%. Это значительно снижает зависимость мозга от глюкозы. Вот эта способность переходить на кетоновый обмен и позволяет мозгу эффективно функционировать даже при длительном отсутствии пищи. Это ключ к сохранению мышечной массы, ведь уменьшается необходимость разрушать белок для производства новой глюкозы. Конечно, переход может быть непростым и сопровождаться временной затуманенностью или головными болями. Но многие люди отмечают неожиданную ясность ума и концентрацию, когда их мозг становится кетоадаптированным. Возможно, это эволюционное преимущество, которое помогало нашим предкам оставаться внимательными и способными охотиться или собирать пищу даже после нескольких дней без еды. Важно понимать, что мозг никогда полностью не отказывается от глюкозы. Некоторые типы мозговых клеток могут использовать только глюкозу, поэтому организму все равно приходится производить небольшое ее количество через глюконеогенез, даже при глубокой кетозе. Весь этот процесс – тонкая игра баланса, настоящее доказательство невероятной устойчивости нашего организма. Способность мозга использовать кетоны – это яркий пример того, как наша физиология создана для выживания, перестраивая всю свою операционную систему, чтобы максимально эффективно использовать доступные ресурсы в условиях нехватки. During a 3-day fast, your muscles and hormonal system engage in a complex and continuous dialogue to manage the body's resources. In the initial phase, as glycogen stores are used up, the muscles are put on notice. When the body shifts to gluconeogenesis on the second day, muscle tissue becomes a primary source of amino acids for glucose production. This process, known as muscle catabolism, is regulated by hormones. Cortisol, often called the stress hormone, rises during fasting and plays a key role in facilitating the breakdown of protein into usable components for the liver. Simultaneously, other hormonal changes are taking place to orchestrate this new metabolic reality. Levels of insulin, the hormone responsible for storing energy, drop significantly. Low insulin is the primary signal that tells the body to stop storing fat and start burning it. This is the trigger for both gluconeogenesis and the subsequent shift to ketosis. As the fast progresses into the third day and ketosis becomes established, the body's need for glucose decreases. This, in turn, slows down the rate of muscle breakdown as the body prioritizes the preservation of its functional tissues. Another important hormone in this story is glucagon. As mentioned earlier, glucagon works in opposition to insulin. While insulin promotes energy storage, glucagon promotes energy release. Its levels rise during fasting, signaling the liver to release stored glycogen and later to initiate gluconeogenesis and ketogenesis. The interplay between falling insulin and rising glucagon is the central command that directs the body's entire metabolic response to fasting. It is a finely tuned system designed to maintain energy homeostasis and ensure survival. By day 3, the hormonal environment has completely shifted from one of anabolism, or building up, to one of catabolism, or breaking down. Growth hormone levels may also increase, which might seem a bit counterintuitive. However, one of the roles of growth hormone is to help preserve muscle mass and promote the use of fat for fuel. This complex hormonal cascade really demonstrates the body's sophisticated ability to adapt. It's not just a simple process of running out of fuel, but rather a highly regulated, strategic reallocation of resources dictated by a symphony of hormonal signals. Undergoing a 3-day fast is not just a silent internal metabolic event. It is accompanied by a range of physical sensations as your body adjusts. One of the most common and expected feelings is weakness. As your body transitions from its usual fuel source, glucose, to breaking down fat and protein, a sense of physical lethargy is normal. Everyday tasks that you usually perform with ease might feel more strenuous. This is a direct result of the metabolic shift and the initial breakdown of muscle tissue for gluconeogenesis. Your body is conserving energy and you will feel it. Dizziness and lightheadedness are also frequently reported, especially when standing up too quickly. This can be related to a drop in blood pressure and changes in electrolyte balance. During a fast, your kidneys excrete more sodium and water, which can lead to dehydration and affect your blood volume. This is why maintaining adequate hydration by drinking water, perhaps with a small amount of salt, is critically important. Headaches can also occur, particularly during the first couple of days, as your body withdraws from its regular intake of carbohydrates and caffeine and as your brain adapts to new fuel sources. Hunger is, of course, the most obvious sensation, but its pattern can be surprising. For many people, hunger pangs are most intense during the first and second days. These are often driven by the hormone ghrelin, the hunger hormone, which is released according to your usual meal schedule. However, as you enter the third day and ketosis deepens, many individuals find that the intense feeling of hunger actually subsides. The production of ketones can have an appetite-suppressing effect, replacing sharp hunger with a more manageable, dull emptiness. Your cognitive function may also experience fluctuations. Some people report brain fog and difficulty concentrating during the initial transition period. It can be challenging to perform complex mental tasks. However, as we discussed, once the brain begins to efficiently use ketones for fuel, this can shift. By day 3, some individuals experience heightened mental clarity and focus. It is important to listen to your body throughout this process. These sensations are signals, telling you about the profound adjustments happening within. While the human body is remarkably resilient and capable of surviving for 3 days without food, it is crucial to understand that this process is not without risks. Undertaking a fast, especially for the first time, without proper knowledge and medical supervision can be dangerous. The metabolic shifts that occur place significant stress on the body, and for individuals with underlying health conditions, this stress can lead to serious complications. This is not something to be taken lightly or attempted based on something you read on the internet. One of the primary risks involves electrolyte imbalances. As mentioned, fasting causes the kidneys to excrete sodium, potassium, and magnesium along with water. These electrolytes are essential for nerve function, muscle contraction, and maintaining a regular heartbeat. A severe imbalance can lead to muscle cramps, weakness, and in the worst-case scenario, dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. People with pre-existing kidney disease are at a particularly high risk, as their organs may not be able to cope with the increased load of filtering waste products from protein and fat metabolism. Individuals with diabetes also face specific dangers. For those taking insulin or other blood sugar-lowering medications, fasting without adjusting their dosage can lead to severe hypoglycemia, which is dangerously low blood sugar. This can cause confusion, seizures, loss of consciousness, and can even be fatal. Conversely, in type 1 diabetes, the absence of insulin can lead to ketoacidosis, a life-threatening condition where ketone levels become dangerously high, making the blood too acidic. This is very different from the controlled, nutritional ketosis of a healthy individual. Furthermore, fasting is not appropriate for everyone. Pregnant or breastfeeding women, children and adolescents, the elderly, and individuals who are underweight or have a history of eating disorders should not fast. Their bodies have specific nutritional requirements that cannot be met during a period of food deprivation. The potential benefits of fasting do not outweigh the significant risks for these populations. The bottom line is that while fasting is a powerful tool, it is a medical intervention that requires a professional assessment of your individual health status. The journey of the body through 3 days without food is a dramatic and fascinating display of metabolic flexibility and survival engineering. We have seen how it systematically moves from using readily available glucose to burning stored glycogen, then to the difficult process of creating new glucose from protein, and finally to the sustainable, fat-burning state of ketosis. Each stage is orchestrated by a complex symphony of hormones, ensuring that the brain and vital organs receive the fuel they need to continue functioning. This is a testament to the incredible resilience embedded in our biology. However, resilience does not mean invincibility. This process, while natural, is an extreme state for the body. It involves sacrificing muscle tissue, placing stress on the kidneys, and altering the delicate balance of hormones and electrolytes. The sensations of weakness, dizziness, and mental fog are not just minor inconveniences. They are signals of the significant physiological strain the body is under. Ignoring these signals or pushing through without understanding the underlying processes can lead to harm, especially for those with hidden health vulnerabilities. This is why the most important takeaway from this discussion is the principle of caution and professional oversight. Fasting should never be a spontaneous experiment. Before considering any form of prolonged food restriction, a conversation with a qualified medical professional is not just recommended, it is essential. A doctor can evaluate your overall health, review your medical history, and check for any contraindications, such as kidney problems, heart conditions, or diabetes, that would make fasting unsafe for you. They can provide guidance on how to do it safely, if it is appropriate at all. Ultimately, health is about balance, not extremes. While short-term fasting may have potential benefits that are currently being researched, it is not a magic bullet. A consistent, balanced, and nutritious diet remains the cornerstone of long-term health and well-being. Our bodies are designed to be nourished. Understanding what happens during deprivation should give us a deeper appreciation for the food we eat every day, and reinforce the importance of approaching any significant changes to our diet with knowledge, respect for our body's complexity, and the wise counsel of a medical expert.